Welcome back to It's 95 degrees in this room because I can't record with the air conditioner on due to audio quality, or with the fan on due to audio quality, or with the window open because people are loud outside, despite the fact that this place, this current apartment in which I inhabit, was built probably around 99, 2000, maybe even into 2001. The owner decided, because he's a cheap bastard, to not put in central air conditioning. Oh, and also welcome back to another episode of my Milwaukee Ospreys franchise mode series. Of course, where we are taking a relocated Nashville Predators team. Why? Again, so that the AHL team lines up. That's literally the only reason that I decided to use Nashville, aside from the fact that I wanted to use a Western Conference team. You get the point. We're here. We're doing this. Things are happening. It's going to be something. I don't know if it's going to be good. Probably not. Most of my stuff isn't good, but it's going to be something. Now, I did change a couple of things heading into this episode based on some viewer feedback, because I'm just that kind of guy. The first thing to note is that we did, in fact, change jersey numbers that bothered some people. So we updated that a little bit. If anyone complains about Ronaldo being number 34, kick rocks. I know people are going to now. But Ham Hughes had his number changed, and we gave Roman Josi captaincy, because why the hell not? Now, as far as the lineup goes at the moment, of course, we're dealing with injuries to Philip Forsberg and Roman Josi, so I've altered things a bit. This is what we are going to go with to start off this episode. Fiala, Johansson, and actually having Craig Smith on the top line. He's been one of our better players so far this season. Same point total as Johansson. Second line is going to be Arvidsson, Turris, and shockingly Colton Sissons, who's been tremendous so far. How he has 12 points, I don't know. Tremendous, at least if you compare him to the likes of Yarncroke, Nick Bonino, and Ryan Hartman, who make up the third line. The fourth line, Mika Salomaki, Zach Ronaldo, and Austin Watson. So I decided it was for the best to play both Ronaldo and Watson on the fourth line and to send down Tolvanen for the moment. Again, he played 3 NHL games, didn't have a point, at least at the AHL level. He is just destroying worlds, and we'll take a look at his point totals in a moment. Defensively, we're just going to go with the best setup to see if we can have a little bit better luck. Ekholm and Subban, Dan Hamhuis with Ryan Ellis, third pairing Matt Irwin and Yannick Weber. The other thing that we changed, auto-rotate goaltenders, happens to be off at the moment, because Pekka Rinne has not been hot right now, or all season, for a matter of fact. Juuse Saros, though, has been pretty damn good, so we are going to give the keys to the city to Juuse Saros. He gets to drive the car, I guess. I don't know. Analogies. Point being, Juuse Saros, here's your opportunity. Steal the show, good sir. Steal the show, because we need you to, and if you do, then hey, maybe Pekka Rinne is on the way out, possibly, maybe. Even though we could probably just wait to trade him at the draft if we really wanted to. Again, Tolvanen, killing it at the AHL level, has 21 points in 27 games. Why not just let him stay down there, continue to develop, continue to destroy worlds, and we'll move on from there. So those are the changes that we have made. Nothing, game-breaking or world-shattering. I told you it's going to be a weird episode today. But yeah, that is what we have done. So for the moment, for the time being, we got nothing else to do but to sim forward. We'll see what happens, and unless Saros really starts to struggle, I don't think Rinne will get another starting opportunity until this home-and-home series against the Minnesota Wild. So let's sim about a week here, actually exactly a week, as Jack Dougherty goes down to injury in Milwaukee, the AHL club, of course, with the Admirals. So we'll just sub him out, and we do pick up a win over the Calgary Flames, which is pretty nice. Let's go goaltenders for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks only. See if we can find anybody. We're playing Winnipeg. It's 4-2 loss, and against the Carolina Hurricanes, it's a 3-0 shutout victory. Juuse Saros, congratulations, buddy. You have earned your next 2 starts against Dallas and St. Louis. As Jack Dougherty's back, we are going to want to make sure that he's in the lineup as we're trying to develop him. Tolvanen's up to a 79, which is nice. I believe it was Matt Donovan that we had taken out of the lineup for Dougherty, so we'll bring him back in. And we'll jump right back into simming. 7-6 win in overtime over Dallas, and a 4-2 win over the Blues. So overall, not bad. 4-1 record for Saros in that stretch. Pekka Rinne, you are in a lot of trouble, good sir, if you want that starting job back. Because Saros doesn't look like he's about to slip up anytime soon. Rinne will get the start in this game. Saros still with a .925 save percentage, now through 12 appearances. Again, Rinne had 26 appearances, only 8 wins, and an .899 save percentage. Perhaps we didn't turn to Saros quickly enough, but I would say Rinne had at least earned the right to keep that starting job and try and turn things around, as our first game against Minnesota is a 6-3 loss. Oh, Pekka Rinne. Pekka Rinne, buddy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, we might be looking at trading you sooner rather than later. I know plenty of teams that could use a goaltender. New York Islanders, maybe. They come to mind. We'll see what's happening. Let's take a look at this team, actually. Yeah, let's send to the end of the month. It's only been like a week or so, week and a half. Not even. It's been like a week and a day. It's been 8 days. 8 whole days. Let's move forward a little bit further, shall we? Yeah, it hasn't even been 2 weeks. Let's actually, that's a lie. We started on the 15th. It hasn't been no, it was 2 weeks. It's been 15 days. Yeah, we're on point today. I'm blaming the heat. I'm blaming the fact that I've never been good at this to begin with. Oh, boy. Spoiler alert. I was never good to begin with. Standards? What are standards? Back-to-back victories over Vegas and Arizona. Not too bad. We're up to 18-4 on the season. 19-15-6 for the Admirals. Let's take a look. Actually, let's not. You know what? We're winning games. We're winning games. There might be a line or two that happens to be underperforming. But for the moment, I'm feeling all right, although we did just lose back-to-back games. Shootout loss against Edmonton. Let's take a look at the lineup. That's a lot of time off in between games, by the way. Seems like a rarity. Did the game crash? Did the game freeze? It might have. Yep, it did. Wonderful. I might put that in the video. Somebody kill me, please. Would somebody kill me, please? Then again, singing Will Somebody Kill Me, Please? Probably not YouTube friendly. They've already terminated my channel once. Why not just be outright demonetized for offensive content? Just me next to Alex Jones and whoever else. Just me, Alex Jones, and a bunch of gay frogs. They're turning the friggin' frogs gay. Oh, God, what a comedic genius. So, good news. It's saved as of Pekka Rinne's last start. So we lost 2-3 games worth of progress. Technically 3 games. So that's nice. Saros is already back in, so it's saved as of that point. This is tremendous. Let's go ahead and sim these 3 games, and we might even make a little bit more progress than that. Boy, oh shit. Nope, we lost more progress than that. Okay, so we lost 5 games worth of progress. Neat. Let's sim to the halfway point of January. We lose to Minnesota 3-2 in overtime. That's just great. Nothing I love more than having franchise mode crash, and then when you return, you lose a game that you had previously won. My favorite thing. Just mwah. Oh, it's my favorite. Although, granted, I beat LA and we lost to them the previous time. So, it all evens itself out in the end. And to be honest, we actually have more wins. Worked out really well. And speaking of things working out, Roman Napoleon Josi. Fun fact, that's actually his middle name. Don't bother looking it up. Just take my word for it, please. Let's take a look at this team. Especially now that we have to add Roman Josi back in. So Saros is still killing it. 18 appearances, 11 wins, .929 save percentage. And then there's Pekka Rinne. So yeah. Do we trade him this early on? Probably not. But maybe at the draft it's time for old Pekka Rinne to say goodbye. As far as the defense goes, I was hoping that one of these two would be outright awful. They've actually worked fairly well together. Whereas Hamhuis and Ellis, not so much. PK is killing it, though. PK is killing it. Oh, who can we take out of the lineup to add Roman Josi back in? I gotta be honest. Some people might find this to be crazy. I think Dan Hamhuis might be the guy that I sit so far. He hasn't worked out all that well, and Irwin and Weber seem to be doing quite well. Let me take a look, though, at the team. So Fiala's up to 29 points. How many games have we played thus far? 42? That's not terrible. It's not mind-boggling, but it's not terrible. Johansson up to 31 points. Beautiful. And still 30 points for Craig Smith. So he is working so well together with Ryan Johansson. I'm loving it. Second line, Arvidsson, 27 points. Solid. Kyle Turris with 27 points. Also solid. And Colton Sissons at a nice 21. Definitely overperforming, I would say. Jarn Krok only 12 points. Not too bad for Bonino. And 18 for Hartman. I'm just trying to think of whether or not I was hoping that someone would be good enough to kind of switch out for Sissons. There's really no reason to. There might be a reason to break up that third line, though. Fourth line, 9 points for Salomaki. 2 points, only 11 penalty minutes for Zach Ronaldo. So, people are just afraid to fight him, I guess. And then the 9 points for Austin Watson. So I think what I'm going to do here, and I've talked about not wanting to do this, but it seems like the right thing to do. Let's... Just trying to think here. You know what? Jarn Krok, I'm sorry. Let's go Ronaldo, Jarn Krok, and Watson. And we'll have Salomaki, Bonino, Hartman. Although, with physical play... No, Bonino's done better than Jarn Krok. Let's go with that. Why not? Everything else can stay the same. And, oh God, we have to go best lines. Damn it. Oh, we have to go best lines. I am upset about it. I'm upset. Although, does Hamhuis have power play time? He does. Never mind. We don't. I'm not going to go best lines yet. Not until Forsberg comes back, which won't be for a while. Let's get Roman Josi back into this lineup. And, yeah, I think that works. Josi, Ellis, Ekholm, Subban. Ekholm hasn't exactly killed it, though. He's been okay, actually. He turned it around a little bit. That's fine. That's going to be the team moving forward. Some slight changes to the bottom six as we try to get Calle Jarnkrok's season underway, really. He's underperformed thus far. Let's see what this next week has for us. 1-0-1, 2-0-1. Not bad. Not bad. We're finally starting to find our form, even without Philip Forsberg, so I can't help but kind of label the early season struggles. I can't help but point the blame towards old Pecorine there. He certainly could have done better, but that's all right. As we drop back-to-back games, we at least got a pity point against Tampa. We beat Chicago to end the month of January. That brings us to February 1st. And now would probably be a good time to look around the league to see if any trades have gone down. Maybe should have looked a little bit earlier, but now that we're this close to deadline day, might as well. And nothing's happened. All right, well, nothing has happened. Never mind. So we haven't missed anything. I will continue to take a look at that, though, as we move forward. So with that push, we're up into 5th in the division. We have some games at hand as well. 4 games in hand on the Blues, who are only 3 points ahead of us. So things are looking quite nice. Johansson leading the way with 34 points in 48 games, which, as I always say, I prefer my top liners to be as close to a point a game as possible. Not looking like that's going to be the case for him, but he's still on his way to a solid season as we're a little bit over the halfway point. Let's move forward. If we slip up in the next couple of games, we'll take a look at the lines. I mean, it's a busy week ahead. We'll go 1 week at a time leading up to deadline day. Let's see what we got here. Against the LA Kings, 25-25. We lose in overtime. Hey, I'll take the pity point. And we rebound, though, with a 5-0 shutout victory over the New York Rangers, which is tremendous. We also played the Islanders here, and Roman Josi's hurt again. He's only out for a couple of days, but still, that's disastrous. But we'll get Dan Hamhuis back in. 5-2 win over the Islanders, a 3-1 loss to the Leafs. So overall, not a terrible week. 2-1-1. I'm all right with that. 24-19-9 on the season. 25-20-7 for the Admirals. Let's see where we are in the standings. We're still in 5th. We're still looking good, though. 2 points back of Minnesota, and we have a game at hand. So we're on pace right now for one of the top 3 spots. But Dallas and Winnipeg have a decent amount of separation, and they gotta love that top notification. He's back, and he's gone, even though it said he was 100%. And we have our first blockbuster. Wow. The Florida Panthers get Dylan Larkin, Thomas Vanek, and 2 other pieces. EA, wouldn't it be nice if you just told us what the other pieces are? For Owen Tippett, a first, and 2 other pieces. So Larkin and Vanek off to Florida. The main return there being Owen Tippett. Let's see if we can track down what the other parts of the trade happen to be. Not sure if we'll be able to be honest. It might have just been draft picks. Let's see. So they have their own. They have Vegas's as well. So it's the 2019 first rounder from Florida. There's also a second rounder in there. Good Lord. All right, so it's looking like it was Tippett, a first, a second, and what else was involved? Whether or not I can identify what that is, I'm not entirely sure. If we can't, it's not the end of the world. But still, that's one hell of a return for Larkin. Not sure why Detroit was wanting to give him up, aside from the fact that he was going to be an RFA coming up. See, there's Owen Tippett. Howard, it might have been him. It might have been. I'm going to guess that was the player involved. So a pretty interesting return for Detroit. And then, of course, Florida gets Larkin. They get Vanek, 2 other pieces involved. Do they have any draft picks from Detroit? No, they do not. Unless not outright from Detroit, at least. They might have had other players be involved. But the main story is Dylan Larkin going to the Florida Panthers. As if they needed more center depth. Good Lord. Good Lord. That team is looking deadly. That top 6 is amazing. I can't really see who the other 2 players were that were involved, but that is all right. Let me know what I may have missed. I'm assuming, because they had Arizona's second rounder, I'm assuming that might have been it. But there we go. Our first trade, our first major trade as we approach deadline day, Dylan Larkin to the Florida Panthers. And we actually have a back-to-back here. Pekka Rinne is going to be coming in against the Ottawa Senators. I meant to switch that, completely forgot to, off the back of that crazy trade. As Subban's now leading our team in points. Can Pekka Rinne win his first game in God knows how long? Saros is still doing incredibly well. I'm a little bit concerned that 81 overall hasn't gone up with how well he's played. Medium starter potential at 22 is all right, but just a tad bit concerned. Yossi's back. I'm going to make sure he's 100%. Ben Sherratt's on waivers. We don't need him, especially for a 2-year deal. We do need a little bit better defensive depth, but he's not the guy that I want to do to get that with to do. Hey, phrasing. We do end up beating the Ottawa Senators, though, in a shootout, 2-1. Pekka Rinne, congratulations. It's your first win in, 3 months. So congrats to you. Is that save percentage over 900? It is not. No, it is not. That is unfortunate, but that's okay. Because thankfully, UC Saros is actually living up to his potential. As I'm going to advance, oh boy, PK in Montreal. PK in Montreal. I want to make sure that Yossi is 100%. He was 100% last time, but still we need to be 100% sure. 100%, 100%, 100%. 100%. As we will... Actually, let's take a look at Dan Hughes. Yeah, you still haven't done much, Danny boy. That's okay. That's all right. We'll continue to use you as a depth option unless these 2 are struggling, which... Weber hasn't done much, but he has as many points as Ham Hughes does. I don't view it as all that detrimental to keep these lines together the way they currently are. Let's take a look at the 4th line. Watson. Yarncroke's still a minus player. The point total's gone up a little bit. Ronaldo has 4 points. Now, as much as I'd kind of like to take Ronaldo out, people might argue, well, you've been winning since you put him in. And to which I say, you know what? You got me there. 27 points for Colton Sissons. I feel like he's slowed down just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. To the point where What do we want to do here? Because I'm tempted to move Bonino up. And I think I want to. Because Bonino's doing really well. Turris is arguably a better center. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Bonino, Turris, Arvidsson. And then probably Yarncroke, Sissons, Hartman, maybe? I don't want to drop him all the way down. You know what? In fairness, we could just put Sissons at center. Have Salomaki, Sissons, and Hartman, Ronaldo, Yarncroke, and Watson. I think I'm going to put Watson at center. Even though Yarncroke's slightly better. And we'll see how that goes. Now, I know it's risky because we're winning, but as it is, there were going to be line changes anyway with Roman Josi coming back. Saros is back between the pipes. And if he slips up, maybe loses 2 in a row, we'll take a look at adding Pekka Rinne back to the starting goaltending position. You know the deal. It's fine. I am definitely losing my mind. 100%. And there you go. Talk about back-to-back losses. It happens. 3-1 loss to Montreal and a 3-0 shutout loss to the St. Louis Blues. I don't exactly blame Saros for that. Maybe the line changes that we made kind of, took a negative effect for us. Let's see if there were any other trades. Indeed, there happened to be. Darnell Nurse to Winnipeg, along with a 4th-round pick this year for defensive prospect. I believe it's Jack Glover, a 2nd next year, and a 5th this year. So Edmonton trades a better defenseman now for a defenseman for the future and a 2nd. Interesting strategy there. Where you have Connor McDavid, but want to trade Darnell Nurse. And again, I can't remember. Has Darnell Nurse signed his contract extension? He was an RFA, I believe. That might be a factor. So Rinne is going to get the opportunity here. If he gets the win, we might stick with him for a bit. And yeah. All right, so the Irwin Weber pairing has started to let us down just a little bit. So we will add Hamhuis back into the lineup. And who do we want on that left-hand side? Could be Hamhuis. Ekholm, Subban, Josi Ellis, Hamhuis, and Irwin. Do I like that? Not really. How is that second pairing done? They haven't been world beaters either. So let's go Hamhuis, Josi, Irwin, Ellis. We'll see how that goes for now. We'll have Josi on the offside. And we have Fiala at 35 points, Johansson, Greg Smith still doing okay. Bonino on that second line hasn't exactly worked out. So we are going to bring that back to what it was before. Only 12 points for Salomaki. Pretty disappointing. I think we'll bump Yarncroke back up because of it. Actually, here, we'll run Yarncroke on the left again. And we should be okay. Hopefully. Let's just have Ronaldo on the wing. Just so he can be a little bit more of a menace. And that way we're not exactly relying on him to play defense as centers typically do. So we have a few more games here before deadline day. Not sure what major changes we're going to make, if any. Might leave that decision up to you guys, and really it kind of depends on our positioning playoff-wise, which, back-to-back wins help. Justin Kirkland goes down with a sore knee. We'll just have the assistant GM take him out of the lineup. And we'll take a look at the U.S. for 2 weeks here. Let's see what happens there. We get a win, hopefully, against Ottawa. Please. Hey, there we go. 3-1 win against the Sens and a 4-3 loss against the Red Wings. And then we get some interesting news. Philip Forsberg is back. A little bit early, too. He wasn't supposed to be back until March. He's not 100%. But that is all right. We don't have to play him immediately. We'll send Brickley down. I'm also going to send Tenorti down. We don't need either of them on roster right now. I don't exactly need to play either of them. So we are looking okay there. 28, 22, and 9 at this point. We should probably go take a look to see if any other trades have happened. We're just a few short days away. PK Subban's almost a point-a-game player. That is incredible. And we are in third place in our division. Only 5 points back of the Jets. I feel like they've slipped up more than we've caught up, really. There's a better way to phrase that, but you get the point. We have a game in hand, 5 points back. We are 1 point clear of the Blues, and we still have 2 games at hand on them. So things are looking good, especially now with guys like Philip Forsberg getting back into the lineup, and hopefully Yossi can stay healthy. Good Lord. There actually aren't that many deals. There's only one deal that we haven't seen, but it's a pretty damn big deal. Sam Reinhart and Drew Stafford, who must have re-signed with Buffalo, traded to Anaheim for Max Jones, Jacob Larson, and 2 other pieces. So basically, it's Reinhart for Max Jones and Larson. We'll see what other pieces were involved. Probably draft picks to the Sabres. That's still crazy, though. Sam Reinhart traded. Now, I know for sure he's still scheduled to be an RFA. At least he should be. I said I know for sure, and yet I'm not sure. But you get the point. We'll take a look here. I can't help but feel like there's a trend of teams trading away potential RFAs. Let's see. Second round pick this year. So 2 second round picks as well. The next 2 second round picks from the Anaheim Ducks, along with Larson and Max Jones for Sam Reinhart and Drew Stafford. One hell of a return for Reinhart. You get the addition now of Jones. You get defensive help with Larson. An interesting deal for that Sabres team, who, they have a slightly better record than I would have expected. Now, we have 2 games to go before deadline day. And I think we're just going to sim up to the day, take a look at everything. The next episode might be making any moves, if there are any, to make, or potentially, and potentially, as long as we make the playoffs, simming the first round, as Eli Tolvanen goes down to a concussion in the AHL. Not exactly ideal, although I think we had to fix the lineups anyway to get Brickley back in, so it's not that detrimental, I suppose. And of course, I wanted to get Philip Forsberg back into the lineup as well. Again, if I have someone replace someone else, why would it not factor in for the 3v3 lines? I never understood that. Never did, but we'll get Connor Brickley in there. And we'll get best lines on the way. I should have mentioned, too, I don't think I brought that up. I did end up putting in Svoboda and Vesterholm, just to see if somehow, some way, as backup potentials, they would develop. So far, nah. We did beat the Sharks 6-2. Can we beat the Blues, who we lost to before? No, we cannot. 2-1 loss. Now, I should have put in Forsberg for that game. Didn't happen. We'll look to bring him back into the lineup moving forward. The day before deadline day, we find ourselves in 3rd place in the Central, and we'll actually take a look at everything that's going on right now. So Dallas, by far and away the best team in the Central. We're currently in 3rd after overcoming a pretty poor start. Those 9 overtime losses have been crucial for us. But the race is not over. The only team out of the playoffs right now, the Chicago Blackhawks. Everybody else has an opportunity. In the Pacific Division, aside from Edmonton, I guess that would explain the Darnell Nurse trade. Aside from Edmonton, you could argue every other team is in it there. And of course, the Ducks right now on 69 points have the other wildcard spot. So both wildcard spots belonging to the Pacific at the moment. In the Atlantic, it's it's Tampa leading the way, with Boston and Toronto ever so slightly behind, 15 points each. So Tampa is killing it, and you could argue that every team is still in it. 21 games to go for the Sens, 6 points back. They are not out of that race by any stretch of the imagination. And really, it's the same story in the Metro. Washington's ahead, not by the same level that Tampa was ahead, but I wouldn't say that any team is out of it right now. The only team I would say definitively is not making the playoffs, or are not making the playoffs, would be Chicago and Edmonton. Everybody else still has an opportunity moving forward. As we have, what do we have? Where are we rated? Where are we? 17th in the league. In terms of goals for, we're at a 2.84, which is just outside of the top 10. That's not bad considering some of the players we were missing. Dallas, the only team averaging over 3, and they're at 3.27, which is insane. Our goals against per game is at a 2.57, which is one of the lowest numbers. Not bad. Top 10, which is where we want to be in terms of goals against per game. Tampa, Boston, both way down there. Tampa, especially at a 2.16. That is crazy. Power play-wise, we're at 19.7%. Not too bad. Just in a top 10 spot, I do believe. So I'm feeling good about this. Penalty kill, 81.4, which is mid-table, which is okay, considering, again, we've been missing someone like Roman Josi all season. Not all season, but for a lot of the season. We've been missing Philip Forsberg for pretty much all season. We don't need to be too dramatic. I'm going to segue here. This might be the only video that I upload today, because man, I am just dying in this room right now. It's the only thing I can focus on. It's the only thing. Number one is, oh my God, I'm sweating to death. This is awful, and the heat's just getting to me. And not that I don't always misspeak and stumble and stammer all over the place. Anyway, you get the point, though. I am so ready for the fall. Give me like 70. Yes, no, not even 70. Give me like 65 degrees with a slightly cool breeze, and I am the happiest person on the face of the earth, especially for recording purposes. I don't know if that picked up through the microphone, but I can see, because I don't have the window open, but the shade's up because the dog likes to look out the window. We've established this. I swear to God, a neighbor of mine is pushing a desk across his driveway. Why not just pick it up? Don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at the team. We'll take a look at the points. Of course, we have to get Forsberg back in. And really, from here, we can take a look at whether or not we want to make any other moves. Actually, before we do that, let's see if any of the trades were made. And then we'll get into what we need to address with our team, if anything. And if I'm not mistaken, I definitely left Pekka Rinne in the lineup after the last game. We do have two other trades. Shea Theodore to Toronto for Carl Grundstrom and J.D. Greenway. Interesting. It's not a move I'd completely rule out either, but Shea Theodore to Toronto, they get defensive help for Carl Grundstrom and J.D. Greenway. And the Islanders making a big move that I don't agree with at all, but with the way trade value works in this game, Dylan Strome and a fourth, along with a fourth and a seventh, for Josh Bailey and a fourth, as the Coyotes absolutely fleece the Islanders. Because, again, trade value in this game is a mystery. It really is. So a fleecing of a deal there. Let's take a look at our lineup, and we'll figure out what changes we want to make, if any. I'm not opposed to just leaving the team the same and saving any major changes for next year. I want to look at the goaltending first, as I kept Rinne in, and unfortunately, he has still been miserable. 34 appearances, only 13 wins, a .903 save percentage with a .285 goals against average. Absolutely dreadful, which, consistency, of course, in real life in this season. He won the goddamn Vezina and then fell apart in the playoffs. We're not exactly getting the regular season Rinne, we're getting postseason Rinne. In the regular season, which is a disaster. He has 1 year left after this at $7 million. Of course, we don't have anybody to worry about in terms of re-signing. Everyone's locked up at the end of this first year. But the talk of maybe trading him now. UC Saros, 30 appearances, 16 wins, a much better .929 save percentage and a 2.01 GAA with 4 shutouts. I mean, obviously, should be the guy moving forward. It's just whether or not we want to keep Rinne, because we can afford to keep him for the rest of the season, just in case. Which, again, if we make a deal, we have to bring a goaltender back, because we don't have a backup level goaltender. We could take a look at the free agent list to see if someone like Andre Pavlik's still there, but is that our best bet? Probably not. But with Rinne underperforming, might just be for the best to get rid of him now. We will take a look at his trade value in a moment. Because again, we get Philip Forsberg back. He actually played 28 games. I thought it was a lot fewer. 13 points in 28 games. It's going to be good to have him back. Yannick Weber, of course, still all right as a depth defenseman. So let's take a look here. Kevin Fiala, 38 points, which is solid. I'm okay with that. 38 points in 61 games would more ideally be on the second line at this point, of course. But an 83 overall at 21 years old, that's looking okay. Ryan Johansson, leading the way for us at the very least in terms of forward, scoring 47 points in 61 games. I'd like to think he's going to get 60 at the very least this season, so he's doing pretty well. And while he's slowed down a bit, 43 points for Craig Smith in 61 games, pretty damn good. Again, I think ideally a second liner, but so far so good from him. Arvidsson, not bad, 39 points in 61 games. Kyle Turris with 40 points. So Turris and Arvidsson a little bit behind the pace as to where I thought they would be. And then Colton Sissons, 28 points. I mean, that's for a third liner. That's what I'd be hoping for. Obviously, he's been playing in a little bit of a increased role lately, just due to necessity and the fact that, someone like Calle Jarnkrok hasn't been great this season. 17 points thus far. Nick Bonino with 35. We tried him on the first line, didn't work out too well. Second line, excuse me. And then Ryan Hartman with 27 points in 61 games. So I think ideally, and actually let's take a look at the fourth line, 14 points for Salomaki, 12 for Watson, and 6 for Ronaldo. I think ideally, all right, and just go with me on this one. If we go best lines, say I were to take out Ronaldo, it would come down to Ronaldo or Watson, and you know what, screw it. I know if I leave that up to your decision, it's going to be Ronaldo. So let's say that Zach Ronaldo's in the lineup, right? As far as what this team would look like, Colton Sissons needs to be on that third line. I think I'd probably go Salomaki, Jarnkrok, Ronaldo, and I might... Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go Ronaldo on the wing, I think. Or Jarnkrok on the wing, sorry. I mean, obviously Ronaldo doesn't exactly fit the bill as far as, hey, what we'd be looking for, but Salomaki, Ronaldo, Jarnkrok might not be too bad. A third line of Bonino, Sissons, and Hartman. I think we'd rather have Bonino. I think we'd rather have Bonino at center, and you know what? Let's put Jarnkrok back over. And then as far as the other lines go, I think this is where it gets tough as far as where do we put Philip Forsberg, which we've had this as the top line now ever since Forsberg went down to injury. It's not all that bad, not at all. That might not be a bad setup right there. You could argue, of course, switching the lines, which I wouldn't be against, but that's basically our top six. And it's pretty solid. I mean, we're good to go there. Craig Smith is only 28. I'm feeling good about that top six, and so far they've been pretty damn good. Defensively, Yossi's been great when he's played. 31 points in 47 games, a plus 16. PK, of course, is a leading point getter still. 46 points in 61 games. Ekholm's been okay with 13 points. He's a plus 3. Ellis with 18 points. Hamhuis up to 8 points and a plus 6. Seems to be working well together with Matt Irwin. So our biggest questions, I would say, what do we do with Pekka Rinne? Do we trade him now? And if so, what do we look for? A better third pairing defenseman, aside from like a Matt Irwin type? Preferably a righty, I'd say, just to kind of have that decent enough balance. And then as far as the forward core goes, what would we really look for? If someone like Colton Sissons is putting up points, sure, I think ideally, of course, in his player role, is that of a fourth line guy. What would we look to do here, though? Like I said, we have options. I'm just trying to think here of what the best option would be moving forward. And I got to be honest, I think it's a little bit up in the air right now. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I'm not against just leaving the team the same and seeing what happens. But if we want to trade a Pekka Rinne, I certainly understand. And I'd say that's the most likely player to be traded at this point. I'd still prefer to move him to a team that actually needs a goaltender. And value-wise, that's a first-round pick, but it's nothing too crazy. We will also take a look at the free agent list as far as goaltenders go. Let's do that right now, just before I forget. Just to see if there's a set game plan so that we don't have to rely on taking a goalie back in the deal so that we actually have a half-decent backup. I don't think we want Troy Grosnick to be the backup goaltender. Who do we have? Steve Mason. That would be the option. We trade Pekka Rinne, and if we don't get a goalie back in the deal, we try to sign Steve Mason. Is that the way we want to go? Or do we just want to keep Pecorine just in case, but still run with Saros as our starting goaltender? That is the question. I want to quickly look at the rest of our trade values as well. Draft pick wise, keep in mind we don't have our first and second round picks in this draft, so it could be a little bit tough. And then obviously heading in the next season, I'd say the goal is to make sure guys like Fabro and Ference end up in the AHL, although of course again they can still develop without being signed. But there you go, just a quick look value-wise at what we have, and of course there's just that collection of low top six forwards, I should say. So I'm going to stop it there. I will leave it up to you guys as far as whether or not we look to make another move. There's room to do so. I just don't know if it's a necessity right now. It might just be worth keeping things as is and seeing what happens from there. But let me know down in the comments below. I know you will. I hope you enjoyed this episode, a very scatterbrained episode from me, but yeah, I don't do well with really hot temperatures. I just don't. I mean, again, it's got to be like 90 plus, which is, over 40 Celsius for every filthy non-American. I don't do well in this weather. I don't. I really don't, but I did the best I could, and hopefully this episode was still somewhat okay. So let me know down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. I love you all. Do what you know you should, whatever YouTuber tells you to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share it, and hit that notification bell, because YouTube sucks at letting you know when I post videos whenever I actually do. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.